Hey, welcome in, guys. It's time to start Bollocks this evening.
It's your father.
Blake's mad at me. I asked him to get the door right at the last second. We got a good show tonight. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I've actually stuck to a lot of stuff this day in history. On this day in history, there was a lot of wild stuff that took place.
And it wasn't in today's paper. Go figure.
It wasn't in today's paper.
No.
So
it might have been. I didn't see it. I looked.
But we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Okay.
You got a whole desk full of stuff over there.
I got today. I got tomorrow. I'm all prepped up. It might carry me to Monday.
And then the second half of the show, we're doing the
Wager wire with a G.
Wager wire. You will have the trophy on your side of the desk because the Pacers came back from a ridiculous game last Wednesday and it earned you the trophy.
Right.
So,
and I'm staying out of basketball and I'm going into hockey.
You're going into hockey.
Yeah.
Oof, man, Florida. Did you see all the fights? Did you see the end of the game?
No, but I did a little research on the goal counts.
Yeah. No, it was 6-1, and in the last 10 minutes of the game, the Oilers just had enough of the Panthers chirping and just rubbing their nose in it, and instead of trying to score goals, they just said, "Screw it, we're going to fight." And I think like 8 people got 10-minute majors.
Wow.
Yeah. So
they finished with open net and two skaters each.
In the Stanley Cup Finals.
There you go. So, decorum rules.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it's not wire wager. It's wager wire, Rebecca. Gosh, don't confuse Lenny anymore.
I don't need. Yeah, it's hard enough.
All right, we got to pay some bills, and of course, the one that sponsors this studio, the Bozard Ford studio here, we got Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Their goal is to make sure your time and experience buying a car is stress-free, fun, and enjoyable. Bozard is a family-owned Ford dealership that has been in business since 1949. Bozard Ford Lincoln has been a recipient of numerous dealer awards, including being ranked #1 automotive dealership in the nation by Dealer Rater. Bozard Ford also has won back-to-back President's Awards, which is the highest honor given by Ford Motor Company. Check them out today online at bozardford.com.
Okay, Powell Heating and Air Conditioning's dedication to customer service has been evident in everything they do. From the moment they answer your call until the time they leave your home, they are working to make you comfortable and confident about the care and service you receive from Powell. With their fleet of 10-plus trucks and 15,000 square foot warehouse stocked with parts and equipment, they are ready to serve you around the clock. They service all heating and air conditioning brands. Emergency service, always open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, including nights, weekends, and holidays. It's a locally owned business for over 39 years. That's Powell Heating and Air Conditioning.
All right, these guys right here are the best in the business without a doubt, and that is Abear, Kresge, and Associates. They're a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing top-level services in areas like tax compliance and planning for business, individuals, estates, and trusts. They also do audits, reviews, and other accounting services. If you need a business evaluation, forensic analysis, or even litigation support, you need to give them a call at 904-460-0747. That's 904-460-0747.
Hey, experience the art of Italian dining at Saint, nestled in the heart of historic St. Augustine. From handmade pastas to rich risottos and indulgent tiramisu, every dish blends authentic Italian flavor with modern elegance. Sip a craft cocktail, savor seasonal ingredients, and enjoy breathtaking views from our second-floor balcony or rooftop patio, where you can take in the bayfront and even spot the lighthouse on a clear day. You can see forever. Anyway, at Saint, every meal is a celebration. Join us and elevate your dining experience.
Yeah, so good there.
Tribute to Babs.
Beautiful building they did.
Yeah.
So, all right. This
food
is
ain't
also,
bad neither, you know.
Well, food is excellent.
Yeah.
All right. This is also an excellent company. We only have excellent companies.
We have standards.
We have the best. We have the
standards.
Best. All right. Solar Stick Inc. Established in 2006, Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committing. Oh.
Take two.
This is the easiest read of all, by the way. This is like it's in bold letters. It's the easiest read, and I've done it hundreds of times.
I'm going to have to get you a slate for your birthday so we can do it officially.
Yeah, so we'll hurt our fingers if we do that.
I know.
Established in 2006, SolarStick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. SolarStick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. SolarStick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing. I am so sorry, Brian and Steph, that I messed that one up that bad. So, but they know me, and they still are a sponsor. They know me, and that's true love right there.
That's exactly it, man.
All right, you got a whole list of stuff over there.
Yeah, I work in advance because I need stuff for every other day.
Okay. I'll start us off right here. Let's go with the Declaration
of
Independence.
Okay.
All right.
Little early.
Yeah.
Poison books.
Poison books. And how about Loving versus Virginia?
Okay.
All right. Are you
was that Candy Loving? She was like the Centennial Playmate of the year.
No. We're gonna have to see how you do on it.
Okay.
So, Blake, which one do you want? You got Declaration of Independence. You have Poison Books, or Loving versus Virginia.
I'm good. Oh, geez, I'm a little bit low on my desktop over here. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Loving versus Virginia.
Loving versus Virginia.
We'll learn things. Right.
It's a ruling in 1967.
Okay.
Blake, you may not have been here if this ruling didn't take place.
Woohoo!
All right. That was when this ruling said interracial marriages were allowed. It was not until 1967, and only about 20 states allowed interracial marriages. The others, it was completely illegal. And
forward-thinking country we were.
1967, the year I was born, is when this is. And Blake, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. I mean, his mom's Spanish, and he wouldn't be here. So, how ridiculous is that going to look on our history? And I think people have swept it like, oh my gosh, this is so ridiculous.
Well,
but I felt the same way about gay marriage. Like other countries were so far advanced ahead of us on that topic.
Well, you might want to keep your powder dry for a little while, because the Southern Baptist Conference has decided, in lieu of the Supreme Court decision on abortion, that now they want the Supreme Court to review same-sex marriage, and they want the government to outlaw that again.
Yeah. No.
That'll go over like a lead balloon.
That's not going to happen. I can tell you.
Well, they're going to try.
I don't think
they are going to try. They are one mistake.
Okay, let me talk. If the Republicans do that, they lose the next election by a landslide.
Well, it's the Supreme Court.
But it's the Republicans that are running the Supreme Court.
I understand that, which is revolting enough.
If that happens, I can tell you right now, Republicans lose the presidency, no matter who they put up there.
Right.
So I mean, that's absolutely asinine that the Baptists would even push.
Well,
that.
These are the same.
And it is the Baptists, so let's not get ahead of ourselves and Chicken Little the world on this. But that's not going to happen.
But
these are the same Baptists and evangelicals that forgave a thrice divorced philanderer. I mean, I suppose forgiveness is the way, but still.
Okay, don't take every argument to him. Don't take every argument to him.
But it all comes to the head.
No, that makes you sound like an extremist, which is, not. I'm
an extremist?
Yes.
Have you seen what he's doing?
He is, but don't equal him.
Okay.
Don't equal him.
I keep trying to tell you how moderate I am. You don't believe me.
Yeah, because you keep throwing his damn name up on every discussion we have.
Just because of what he's doing.
Because he's in your head. He's bouncing around like a BB in a paint can, and you can't have a good thought on your own because you're thinking of him because he's distracting. Don't be those other Democrats. Be productive in your thoughts, and it's the Baptists that are bringing it. He's probably going to attach himself to it, and he's going to look like an idiot, and he's going to lose. So it might be a good thing for you if the Baptists actually do this. So don't get tied up with him because I need my Lenny thinking strongly and not thinking like, what can I do against Trump?
Yeah.
So, and that's where
He's
the
doing it all
Democrats,
by himself.
no, that's where the Democrats are losing.
Yeah.
In a lot of these arguments, they get so tied up, and he knows it. He knows he's a distraction, and creates distraction, so that while the Democrats are thinking about him, the Republicans are sliding their shit under the table and getting it done.
Yeah.
So the Democrats got to stay focused on what their job is. Their job is not to how to get rid of the president. He's not going anywhere. You tried
Not
to
for a
impeach him
while.
twice.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
You know,
Yeah.
and you tried to put him in jail.
That's
that
a waste
didn't
of time.
So, and
Well, that's thanks to the Supreme Court. But yeah.
yeah. But all that stuff
Right.
is a distraction, and it makes the left, who has some good ideas, but they lose those good ideas because they get so focused on him.
Yeah.
Right, and they can't get out of their own way. You got Fetterman wandering around in his Adam Sandler shorts, saying, Democrats really should, say this violence is bad. Every Democrat's saying the violence is bad. They're also saying the tactics that the ICE are using is illegal. Look, does it make you the least bit nervous that people are going warrantless and with masks and without identification on their uniforms? Does it give you any pause?
If I haven't seen that. I've seen what the media projects, but I haven't seen that. I have seen ICE show up at places.
A lot of them are labeled. A lot of them aren't.
Guess what they're not wearing? They're not wearing masks. They're walking in and they're coming in and they're going, okay, let me see what you got. And either you show it or you don't, and people have been taken away.
Right.
So it's the media makes it sound like every ICE arrest is they're kicking in doors and babies are crying and they're kicking the puppies and the cats and that's not what's happening in reality.
Damn dogs from Tijuana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, some of those deserve it. I'm joking.
Whoa,
that was a joke. That was a joke.
Whoa, easy on those little scraggly pups.
That was a joke, but it's not really a dog.
I know people who do Tijuana dog rescues. Go figure, because we don't have dogs to rescue in the United
States.
States.
Dog doesn't weigh over 4 pounds.
Right.
It's really a dog.
It's a pocket dog,
yeah,
right?
It's really a dog. Right. I love dogs, so I'm joking, guys. Jeez, people don't get upset. But the way it's perceived,
Josh, you gotta wake up and start drinking some coffee, brother.
Yeah.
They're showing up. They're grabbing people indiscriminately. They're not apologizing. They're taking people without warrants. They're not giving them due process. You can't say that they're showing up with warrants.
Lenny, let me tell you, if you can't prove who you are and what you're doing here in the country because they don't have IDs, then you get taken and then you get questioned from there.
Fine.
I have not seen any strong arming that they're talking about. Yeah, you can roll your eyes, but you're seeing what's edited on TV. I mean, I've visually seen Border Patrol people and ICE in action, and that's not the way it's really going down. So,
okay.
I mean, if I agree some of the aggressive tactics, but we're on day 4 of what's going in LA.
Speaking of aggressive tactics.
Yeah, that's where I was. There's aggressive tactics there, but also when I see a mom just trying to get home and people throwing stuff at her car and attacking her car, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be on the side of the mom.
Yes, I do.
And that. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna be on that side. So
yeah,
okay.
but
by that same token, he's claiming that LA is burning. The entire city's it's 1 square mile. The curfew is affecting 100,000 people out of a city of 5 million. Mm-hmm. So, talk about blowing things out of proportion.
They're not even leaving their own neighborhood. If you're going to loot in another neighborhood,
right? Exactly. Go to Beverly Hills. Not that I'm claiming that you should do that.
Don't tell me the cultures I'm seeing and claiming they're protesting aren't matching up with the cultures that's being oppressed right now. Might have been oppressed in the past.
Right. Right.
I'm not taking away. I'm not taking
I know
away
where
from
you're
that.
going. Yes. Yeah.
But what I'm seeing and the looting and kicking in the glass doors in their own neighborhood, the people
it's ridiculous.
They're probably friends. They're stealing from their own friends.
And then they wonder why there's no supermarkets.
These people. I can't support these people.
And they wonder why there's no supermarkets in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean I can't support.
No, it makes no sense. It's counterintuitive.
I'm sorry.
It's ridiculous.
You go in there and you're stealing stuff from people that worked hard for it. Hey, take a rubber bullet in the ass because you deserve that one. So one,
As opposed to the Australian TV reporter who got a rubber bullet in her leg.
she got the ankle one.
She got shot in the leg.
She
Yeah,
got one off the
exactly.
ankle. So
But
she was pretty tough about it.
She was, but there's some photojournalist who's walking around with a big freaking welt right in the center of his forehead who got caught with a rubber bullet in the forehead. That must have hurt like hell.
Yep. So and I wonder where they were told to stand and if they went beyond that.
Well, there you go.
They probably were trying to get the good story.
Yeah.
And
well, if you're
don't go over there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where they got shot was over there.
Yeah, she was standing minding her own business. I don't know where the photojournalist was. I mean, that's a tough road. A war correspondent, a photojournalist.
Yeah.
You want to get a good photo, you're ducking. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but come on, LA, get it together.
Absolutely. Well, they are. They said we can take care of this. Mm-hmm. Get out of the way. We can take care of this. And like I said,
Seattle said the same thing.
Yeah. Well, Karen Bass, did they?
Yeah.
I don't know because. Karen Bass pointed out, like I said, if you're out after curfew, we're coming for you. Mm-hmm. She said, you go home and you're sleeping in your bed tonight. Doesn't mean you're going to be sleeping in your bed tomorrow night because we've got pictures, we've got cameras. It's going to take a little while to find you, but we'll find you and we'll clink you up. Mm-hmm. So, don't be stupid.
No. I like her tough talk. I just hope she backs it up. And
last night they did.
The people of LA stand behind her when she does it. Right. She's tried. I think she's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So
they arrested 600-700 people last night.
Okay, good.
Or over the last couple of days, anyway. Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
So, but back to Loving versus Virginia, which was what our topic was.
Boy, what a tangent that was.
Which is what our topic was. I believe in Florida was one of these states that you were not allowed.
Right. We're
not allowed to marry outside of any. We're not talking just black and white. We're talking Latino. We're talking Chinese. We're talking just think Vietnam marriages that happened.
Oh yeah.
Between 66 and 74.
Yep.
So a lot of and there was, like I said, there was like 20 states that had already had some type of law in place that they were allowed to marry.
Okay.
But the fact that it had to go to the Supreme Court,
ridiculous,
for mixed marriages to actually be real. So I don't think people realize it was that late in history, when that law came into place. So, and there were people that got arrested in the South.
Oh yeah,
couples that got arrested in the South for marrying outside their race. So, and spent significant time in jail.
And that was Virginia, no less.
Yeah,
it wasn't like
Virginia.
Texas. Right, it wasn't Texas, Alabama, or Mississippi.
Yeah, but I mean. And even after this law went into place, there was people in jail for it. And they said, well, that's when the law was they broke the law then. They didn't get out after this ruling. They still had to stay in jail.
And that was 69?
67.
67.
Yeah.
So who was president in 68? So Nixon didn't pardon him?
It was Johnson.
And he, of all people, should have.
Yeah, it was Johnson at the time. So he didn't pardon. There's people that stayed in jail because it was a state, wasn't necessarily a federal thing. Federal thing.
Yeah,
so
okay.
So I mean,
and the governors in those states weren't that forgiving.
Yeah. And that's happened on tomorrow. This day in history, it happened on, the 12th. On the 12th. But I was like, I really want to talk about this because I don't think people realize that
how recent it was.
That component of history and how recent it was. Blake, did you have any idea? I'm pretty sure they didn't teach that in history class.
No, they didn't teach that in history class, but I definitely knew about through history channels on YouTube and stuff like that. So and definitely, and going back to the original comment about same-sex marriages potentially being brought back up onto the Supreme Court docket. In Clarence Thomas's statement about why he voted yes on the Dobbs case, he actually brought up Loving versus. He actually didn't bring up Loving versus Virginia as one of the cases that should be brought up again to the Supreme Court. I believe he did mention Obergefell. I believe the case about sodomy.
He can't bring that up.
Yeah,
he's married to a white woman.
No, he actually defended it as his yes vote.
Okay.
So Clarence was on your side on this one.
No shit.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's
Wow.
shocking. I know it's shocking, but he was
Oh
on
my
your,
goodness.
He was on your side on this one. He voted.
He's got to,
he voted
otherwise,
yes.
you know.
He voted yes.
Talk about
on
your
that.
cognitive dissonance. He voted no on that.
Yeah. So
He was he was on the court at the time in '69?
no,
He wasn't on the
no,
court
no,
in
no,
'69.
no. He referenced
Okay.
Loving
Okay.
versus Virginia in his yes vote for gay marriage.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Clarence Thomas voted yes for gay marriage?
I'm pretty sure he did.
I thought it was Anthony Kennedy that voted for it.
Oh, now we got to fact check.
Yeah, because well, all right.
Now we
Zach.
got to fact check it. So I thought Clarence Thomas did. So
I never thought I would say that I really miss Justice Scalia.
Whoa!
Oh, the man was brilliant. Brilliant. I don't agree with a lot of his decisions, but most of them were sound.
yeah.
The Washington handgun decision,
Was
the
it-
Holder decision made no sense.
Who was it? Was Ruth?
It was all right. So the judges that voted yes on Obergefell v. Hodges was Anthony Kennedy, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen Breyer Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan.
Okay.
Dissent Roberts, Scalia, Thomas.
And Thomas was
Alito.
dissented. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't see that
See-
one going through. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I see these two being so relatable.
Oh.
Like how can he even vote against that? But
Because he's Clarence Thomas, and
Yeah.
you pencil him in as
yeah, it's
guilty,
just-
hang him.
No, yeah, you're not being a judge. You're a puppet to your party.
Right,
So-
which is a shame because when you get to the Supreme Court, you shouldn't have to have any allegiance other than to the Constitution
100%.
and the law, and it doesn't seem to be that way any longer.
Except for your personal memo, Coach, though.
All right.
No, I mean the liberal wing is equally as intransient.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we're going. Boys, are we good with Loving versus
Yes,
Virginia?
I'm very
Yes.
big on loving.
Loving.
Yes.
I'm a Loving guy.
And and the funniest thing is, what's the catchphrase for Virginia?
It's for
Virginia's for lovers.
For lovers,
Right.
yeah. So, all right. You have Poison Books.
Yeah.
I have Declaration of Independence. And what is your other one that you want to bring to the table?
Let's do Head on Joe.
Head. Okay, this sounds uncomfortable. Can we change that title a little bit? Head
Sure.
on-
How about Crash Bang Boom?
Crash Bang Boom? We're
Blake
going
knows what I'm talking about.
Crash Bang Boom. Well, I mean, the other way you said it, it's like, whew, okay. I think you-
Well,
I think-
it would make sense in context.
Yes. No, I think you prefer ice cream.
Different Joe.
Oh, okay.
Different Joe.
All right.
Much older.
So
not as much, but
so
much
we have
older.
Poison Books, Declaration of Independence, Head on Joe. What you got, Blake?
I'm going to go with Poison Books.
Okay.
Poison Books. All right.
Got to be careful, kids. In Victorian days, there was a desire to have very bright, almost iridescent green colors for things.
Mhm.
And there was only really one way to get those colors.
We would probably call it gaudy today.
Maybe. No, it's just sort of iridescent, but a nice shade of emeraldish green.
Mhm.
But to mix that color, they did, because this was in the Victorian days. So to mix that color, they had to mix copper and arsenic. And everybody knows you throw a penny in a fire or copper, it's going to burn green.
Uh-huh.
So that's where the basis for the green comes from. And then the arsenic was the stabilizer in it, I believe.
Yeah.
So arsenic will kill you.
Mm.
But they used that vibrant shade of emerald green to do book covers, but they didn't stop there. They colored wallpaper, toys, and they even used it in confectionery. Well, at a certain point in time, the reason they liked this color is because the color resisted fading with light exposure. So the color didn't fade on you.
Mhm.
So it stayed that way for forever, actually. And Victorian bookbinders would use the arsenic, mercury, and some chrome for their coloration for their covers of their books. And these books have stayed in libraries and archives for centuries, a couple hundred years. The household items themselves didn't last for 200 years. But they pulled 4 books off of the shelf in the National Library of France, and they tested them and found out that, it'd kill you.
Mhm.
So somebody created a...
Don't lick the book cover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they did a little research, and they went to a geology department and found out that they could use a spectrometer to test the chemical makeup of these books the same way they would tell what were in different types of rock. And they came up with a tool that would flash red if it was dangerous or green if it wasn't, by the arsenic, the mercury, the chrome that was in these books. So long-term exposure to this sort of stuff can harm your skin, your liver, your kidneys. It'll reduce your red and white blood cells and leave you down to.
If the books are these old, you should be wearing gloves anyway.
Well, they are, yeah. Now they are, but they did these.
Don't lick them.
No.
It's like people are scared to death of asbestos.
Yeah.
Like asbestos tiles and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
Don't lick it.
When it frays or it there's a word that starts with an
like
F.
The dust,
Yeah,
the frass that comes off. Of
Yeah.
it. So,
That's why it has to be red bagged.
yeah.
But
but not if it's residential.
really,
Only if it's commercial.
really,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember we had a.
It does have to be bagged, but it doesn't have to be red bagged. It doesn't have to go to like. There's a place in Georgia. We send all our asbestos to Georgia.
Okay.
So there's and it's burnt off.
But they did the entire University of St. Andrews Library and the National Library of Scotland have all been tested for these, and they're going to keep moving along. And yes, and now you have to handle the books with gloves and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting color green. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't give you a picture. They could maybe find one, but we're moving on, so it doesn't matter. But I found that was kind of interesting that,
Poison books.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why I don't read. I don't want to die.
Well, but the problem is it depends on what dye you use.
Yeah.
Whether it's DYE or DIE.
I don't want die.
No.
Or to die.
No, neither.
So poison books.
Yeah.
All right. We have
Crash Bang Boom.
You have Crash Bang Boom. I have Declaration of Independence. You have Crash Bang Boom, and I have Mr. Gorbachev.
Tear down this wall.
So, Blake, what are we going with?
I'm gonna go with Crash Bang Boom.
Crash Bang Boom.
Better known as Head on Joe.
Head on Joe.
Pause.
Joe Connolly set a Guinness Book of World Records.
Okay.
For staging the most train wrecks ever. From 1896 to 1932, he would stage train crashes. Many of them head on, hence his nomiker. Mm-hmm. And he did 146 of them, including 73 which were head on. And just to make them a little bit more exciting, he would load some of them with dynamite. So when they crashed, they would go up in a blaze of glory. And I think Blake has film of one from the 1932 Iowa State Fair to share with us.
All right.
There you go. Boom.
Seems like a lot of money wasted.
Well, things were less expensive back then.
Yeah. I got a story about this. Have I told you this story?
I don't think so.
About the guy who just loved trains, and he stole a train, and he was going and he hit the curve too fast, and he crashed and he killed like 100 people.
Oof.
All right.
Passengers on the train?
Passengers on the train.
Oof.
All right. So he comes to his he got the death penalty. So when it came to his time to get the death penalty, the electric chair, they say, what do you want for your last meal? He's like, I want steak and potatoes and a large sweet tea. All right. So he has steak, potato, and large sweet tea. They go to give it the electric chair. Electric chair doesn't work. It malfunctions. If that happens, then they get set free. All right. So he gets set free. About a year later, he steals another train. Exact same thing happens. Exact same thing. So he gets the death penalty again. Electric chair. What do you want for your last meal? I want a steak, potato, and sweet tea. Again, electric chair doesn't work. And he gets set free. A year later, same thing happens. See, you thought this was a true story. Now you know it's not.
Right. No, I know you well enough to know right from the start.
No, you know.
This one was going.
No, you
this
know,
one was going funny.
Now you know it's not. All right. So he gets the death penalty again. Go to the electric chair, and the warden goes to the executioner. Goes, whatever you do not give him that same meal. Something's going on with that. I don't know what it is, but we're not giving you that same meal. And so he goes, well, I want, a steak, mashed potatoes, and a sweet tea. They go, you can't have that. He goes, okay, just give me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. All right. They go to flip the switch again. Nothing happened.
Huh.
You know what the problem was? He was a bad conductor. That's a long way to get a bad joke.
It is, right. You gotta work, he was tired of working on the railroad, so, linking into that you don't say conductor until the end. But anyway, no, the covers of the books and the coloring of the cover for the books and the household products and the candies and everything were the poison stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, the household products have disappeared over the last 200 years.
Yeah.
So the books stayed because they've been in archives or libraries or on shelves. So that's where that goes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We have Declaration of Independence. You got another one over there?
We got plenty of them.
All right. 'Cause I think we're going to do one more, and then we're going to go to Wager Wire.
Okay. I've got the best resorts in Florida.
Best resorts in Florida and Mr. Gorbachev. So I'd kind of like to hear best resorts in Florida.
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Is that what you're going with?
Yeah, Mr. Gorbachev.
He's going with Mr. Gorbachev.
Okay.
Tomorrow, also on the 12th, is the anniversary of that speech.
We have a show tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just saying.
But we're going to be doing other topics,
okay.
and we probably won't get to it. But believe me, today and tomorrow, there are so many things to talk about on this day in history.
Excellent.
So, but this one, I was a senior in college when this speech took place.
Okay.
So, it was 1989, the year I graduated from college. But it was just one of those things. It's going to be a memorable speech. And I'm wondering which speech to you, because that one's one that I remember, and I was like, wow, he crushed that. Even though I wasn't a huge Reagan fan, I was a bleeding heart liberal at that time. I was very extremist at that time.
Glad to see you've moved back toward the center.
Yeah. No, this is as far right as I've ever been.
Right. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Push.
Yeah, I got pushed over here.
I keep shoving you. Sorry.
I got pushed over here. But what speech do you stand out? I mean, you think of great speeches, even not so great speeches. I remember seeing Nixon say, "I'm not a crook."
Right.
I remember that speech. I remember, I think George W. did a great job when he was at Ground Zero. That moment, I think he did an amazing job and showed a great leadership then.
Yep. I know the fireman that was standing next to him when he was up there. Yeah.
Yeah. And John?
No. Bob.
Okay. All right.
He was from Baldwin.
Okay. Obviously a day that'll live in infamy speech, Gettysburg Address. I mean, some of these are great speeches. Which presidential speech do you think is one that you go, that was really, he nailed that one?
Well, Kennedy, when he was imploring for, putting a man on the moon before the end of the decade, was pretty groovy.
Yeah.
But I'll give one that wasn't a speech that I think is one of the more memorable things I've ever seen. A man who I actually admire, may he rest peacefully, because boy, did he have a shitty life at times. John McCain just going like that. Mm-hmm. I think that, without uttering a word, spoke volumes. Mm-hmm. And it was, heard around the world, literally. There was the repercussions for his vote on that, and the way he did it was, I thought, seminal. I think it was monumental the way he did that. Mm. And that really stuck with me. Speeches, you get bits and pieces. There's sections of this,
but John McCain wasn't a president.
No, I know.
Yeah, I asked what president.
Oh, okay. He should have been. He could have been.
He could have been.
He could have been.
He could have been.
Couldn't have done worse than a lot of other people. I promise you that.
Yeah.
But boy, it would have been interesting to see Sarah Palin as vice president.
That'd have been a train. Yeah. Speaking of train
wreck. Right. Head on Joe. Bam. Right.
Speaking of train wreck.
Yeah. No, I'll go with Kennedy. He was eloquent. He could speak well. He had that,
Harvard
upper crust accent. Elite.
Yeah.
Elite.
He's an Ivy Leaguer.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
From Harvard.
Ivy Leaguer. I expect
It was the family school.
I expect you to go with the Ivy Leaguer.
Of course.
So
Well, then I could go with either of the Bushes as well.
yeah.
I could go with
Yes.
Clinton. I could go, yeah. Bubba was a Rhodes Scholar. Yeah.
Yeah. Bubba was a smart dude.
Yes, he was. I told you,
I'm assuming he's still a smart dude. He is still alive.
Yeah, and he's skinny as can be, and he's a vegan. Go figure. He went from chugging. Take a note, Mr. President. Current, he's slim as can be, and he went from jogging to McDonald's with his Secret Service to go get hamburgers to going vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
It looked like he can barely walk.
right, a triple bypass, and then a little major heart surgery will take care of that for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was motivated by survival or by
Probably a little bit of both.
I think.
Probably a little bit of both. All right, it is time for the wager wire.
Baby.
You are the holder of the trophy today.
Thanking you.
Have it. It goes on your side.
Yeah.
All right. Blake, do you have your can't misses? Blake's best bets. Do you have those today? What is your number one best bet of the day?
My number one best bet of the day is the Astros beating the White Sox today.
Oh, went with the low-hanging fruit.
There you go.
Went with the low-hanging fruit. I do have that in a parlay, by the way.
But that is also because it's not as much of a guarantee as most people think because the White Sox actually beat the Astros last night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have they won 2 games in a row all year, though?
I think they have, yes. And they're not Colorado Rockies bad, but they are bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I have them in a parlay. The White Sox losing, also. So, what is the Lenny lock?
Well, I'm gonna, I've said for years, bet against me and you'll make a lot of money. But I went back and I looked at, like the last 8 or 9 hockey games that were played, and there's just goals popping everywhere. I mean, it's been the over, except for one game, it was over. Mm-hmm. So foolishly, I took the over at 6.5 for tomorrow night's hockey game.
Okay, I don't think that's a terrible bet.
No, every other game was.
And I think there's going to be at least 6.5 fights.
Well, yeah, and sadly I couldn't bet on that one. And I've got a new strategy, which I really should have employed a little bit more when the Mets were there, and they won't be back this season, unfortunately. If you got a banger on your team, I hope the hell Seattle plays in Colorado. Mm-hmm. But take home run hitters in Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets hit 5 of them in one game.
And if you look at the over in those games, in those Colorado games, everything else is like 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 if it's high. You go to Colorado, it's 11.5 if it's in Colorado. Oh, yeah. Or if you're playing against Colorado.
Right.
Because their pitchers pitch like slow pitch softball. Like, too much arc.
So I took Hunter Goodman, who is on Colorado, by the way. He's their catcher. He's already got 10 home runs. He's playing at home. So it was that or take Wilmer Flores. But yeah, I took him. And then I'm just riding the Mets are hot, man. Mm-hmm. I got Soto and Alonso hitting home runs tonight. Well,
we might be jinxing each other, and I might be jinxing all you guys because I have the Mets also.
Okay.
That's part of that 14 parlay.
Keep telling you to bet against me.
Yeah.
But not against the Mets.
All right, and my Troy temptation, because you're tempted to bet it, but it's me, so you probably shouldn't, is I just think the Thunder are that much better than the Pacers. I still believe, and it was great.
Even on the road.
Even on the road, they're giving up 5. I'm still giving up the 5.
Okay.
I just think SGA is, I think he's the best player in the league right now. So, and he's got guys around him that just throw their bodies around. I mean, these guys play hard. Even in that game that they
the first game,
where they got cold at the end, and they didn't close it out, but they were up by 15.
Yeah,
and
they won it by 1. They won it by 1 at the buzzer. Yeah.
So I'm sticking with the Thunder.
Okay.
And I'm giving up the 5 points. So.
Okay.
All right, Blake. What other pick you got over there?
I'm gonna go with Tyrese Halliburton of the Pacers possibly getting over 17.5 points tonight because it is a home game. So I'm definitely expecting like some big numbers and And also, I'm kind of leaning more towards Pacers winning overall tonight as well.
Oh, you think you're going to win on the floor? Okay, now I feel better about my bet.
Yeah. but
Outright, or are you taking the points?
I might be taking the points with the Pacers though.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, if they're giving you the points, it's still you.
But it is narrow though for like it definitely is like as high as it was like game 1 or game 2 where it was like 12 points. It's only like 5.5, so you're still kind of thinking like okay. So but I definitely do think Halliburton's going to perform well tonight at home.
All right.
Who's taking the over under on King Henry becoming a movie star? You guys know about this? Okay. Derrick Henry is a huge Adam Sandler fan.
Derrick Henry, the football player?
Derrick Henry, the football player.
Okay.
King Henry, yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking to Dan Patrick on a show, and apparently Dan Patrick was wearing a sweatshirt that Adam Sandler had given him, and mentioned that to Derrick Henry, who said, "I'm a huge Adam Sandler fan, man. He's my favorite. You know, just send him my regards." So apparently Dan Patrick followed through, and Henry's on the practice field, and one of the trainers came up, handed him a phone. On the other end of the phone was a text message from Adam Sandler, who said, "Here's the deal. You go over 2,000 yards this season, I'm putting you in a movie." And then he said,
Kind of incentive.
Yep. And you and I will have a really nice dinner, and we can mock Dan Patrick for the fact that he can't grow facial hair."
Oh.
And that was the whole thing.
Well, and his workout regimen
Oh, man.
is incredible. I mean, you hear of legends like Jerry Rice and how he was able to keep his body, and Tom Brady and
Walter
and
Payton
these
as well,
guys. I
yeah.
mean, even the old guy that the Steelers signed. What's that? Methuselah? Oh no, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Who apparently got married.
Yeah.
Rumor has it. He's wearing a silicone wedding band.
Okay. I was not aware of that. But,
Well, he kept it mum, but now he's sort of fessing up a little bit.
as long as he's not going away in some melting tent or whatever he was in.
Sweat lodge.
What did he do? He did
Sweat
some, like
lodge.
sweat thing.
Ayahuasca or darkness retreat.
Yeah. So that's kind of whack.
He's taking a new tack where he's not gonna bemoan his previous teams. So that'll be nice.
All right. All right. I did have, and I had a bet that's going on right now.
A lot of early games today.
A lot of early games because of the basketball game. And the Dodgers are up 4-1.
Okay.
Okay. I have Ohtani getting 1 hit.
Okay.
I have Freeman getting an RBI, and I have Mookie getting 2 total bases.
Okay.
All right.
Where do you stand now?
It's 4-1
Okay.
Dodgers.
Right.
How do you think I stand?
Nothing.
I got a goose egg. I got nothing. The 3 best players on their team have not contributed anything to where they're at right now, and they're in the bottom of the 6th in San Diego. So they got three more hacks at it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that I think I can write that one goodbye.
Well, I did okay last night because I took Lindor to get a hit, Soto to get a hit, and the Mets to win. Well, the Mets were down 4-0, and they came back a little bit because Soto hit a 2-run home run. Lindor already had a base hit. So now I'm going, okay, good. Now I need the Mets to win. Well, they worked their way back to 4-4, and they win it in extra innings. So my bet went through.
Yeah.
All right.
So I got a little green light.
Now,
Here's my bad bet last night. My bad bet, and I tried to use some logic with it. WNBA.
Okay.
All right.
no.
I never watched the WNBA, but they don't score as much as the men.
Correct.
All right.
Still talented women.
New York was giving up 16 points
Wow.
to Chicago. All
Okay.
right. I mean, the over-under in those games is like 155. So I was like, man, they have to really just crush them to cover 16 in that. I thought I was completely okay. Chicago put up 66 points.
Okay.
New York put up 85 points. So they lost by 19. I was like, there's no way, the scores are too low for them to be that far ahead. I was trying to play the math on it. Yeah, and I got my ass kicked. So guess what? I'm not betting tonight. I'm not betting WNBA.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, they can bang it. Meanwhile, I hope you didn't bet USA versus Sweden soccer. Boy, was that an embarrassment.
No, I didn't bet that.
Oh man, they lost 4-0.
That's an ass whooping.
Oh, it was mortifying. It really was. I mean, I don't think they've won anything, and they're heading off to play again. So this was at home in Nashville, by the way, and they did not. They got booed at halftime.
Yeah.
U.S. men's national team got booed off the field at halftime.
Yeah, it's got to be embarrassing for them that the women are elite in the world, and they're in the 20s or 30s in the rankings in the world. So it's got to be a little bit embarrassing with all the resources in the world that they need.
Yeah.
There's not like they don't have the resources.
No.
So, all right, College World Series.
Okay.
You got any thoughts on that, guys?
Nope.
No.
You have no thoughts whatsoever.
No.
All right, if I give you some of the games, can you give me some of your thoughts? Because I was planning on having at least some discussion about this.
Okay.
Dang it.
So I'm gonna go to the games. Arizona, Coastal Carolina.
I'll take Coastal Carolina, though. Arizona is a baseball school.
All right. Louisville, Oregon State.
That's a toughie. Neither of them stand out as a baseball school necessarily.
Oregon State, maybe? Just to be different?
Yeah. Oregon State's favored, actually.
Okay.
Murray.
I think it Coastal Carolina wasn't.
Here's the bell of the ball. Murray State, and they're playing UCLA.
Let the glass slipper break. UCLA wins.
Glass slipper just got stepped on, right?
Yeah.
All right. These two are paired up against each other. Two SEC guys, LSU and Arkansas.
There's going to be a lot of jello shots that are going to be consumed between those two colleges.
Yeah, I'm taking LSU.
So
LSU.
All right. So I got LSU in that one too, and I got UCLA. I got Oregon, and I actually have Coastal Carolina. They're favored.
Yeah. Oh, really?
They're favored over
job.
Arizona in that. So good call.
Interesting.
Good
Okay.
call on that
All right.
one.
Okay. Nice trophy. Nice trophy.
Who of those 8? Who do you feel you have the most love towards? And by the way, LSU is a slight underdog to Arkansas.
You know, I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina because of them all, other than maybe Murray State, I would think it's the smallest enrollment. I'm not sure of that, but I don't think it's a big
Don't
school.
they have a national title?
Coastal Carolina?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, Blake, didn't they win about 3 or 4 years ago?
Who?
Coastal Carolina?
I think maybe they did. Let me double check that real quick.
Yeah. So,
It's like Stetson. You develop a baseball program and people come there to play baseball.
yeah.
So, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So, I think I'm leaning towards LSU.
Yeah.
You know, just because they
Or
played
Razorbacks?
Coastal Carolina won in 2016.
2016. Oh,
Okay,
is that
so
long ago?
9 years ago,
Okay.
10 years
That
ago.
was long
Okay,
ago. Okay, that's like 2 years ago to me. 9 years ago.
Believe me. When you kept saying the Reagan speech was in 1989, I'm going, you sure it wasn't earlier than that?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it seems like it should have been so much earlier than that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with LSU. Of the 8 teams, Blake, who you taking?
I think I'm going to be taking UCLA.
UCLA.
But it will feel weird, even though it's a West Coast team, for the Big Ten to claim that they have a baseball championship.
UCLA.
And Josh just said Oregon State beat FSU. There's no Florida teams left, are there?
No,
Yeah.
Miami and Florida State were the last two in, and they lost
And
in the
they lost, yeah.
in the Super Regionals.
Yeah.
So, all right, Josh, who you got and out of those 8? So see what he's got, because he seems to be better at picking these than we are.
Well, I know. Certainly better than I am on this.
So, did you see that Gypsy accidentally put out come to trivia with Troy?
No.
That was posted 7 hours ago. Look.
I did notice that their sign is down and off of the building.
Yeah. Please don't show up at trivia at Gypsy Cab, guys.
Right, especially on a Wednesday. We're not there.
I'm not going to be there. So, all right. Last pick. Hockey. You have the over in the
I
hockey
have the over,
games.
yeah.
What do you think? Who do you have? How many games?
Well, what it's
2-1.
2-1 Panthers.
Yep.
I'll do the Panthers in 5.
Oh wow.
They'll win.
You think
They'll win the
good?
next 2. They'll win tonight, and they'll win the next one, or tomorrow and the next one.
Okay. Blake, what about you on the hockey side?
I think it will be the Panthers taking it. I think the momentum's too strong, so we're gonna have back-to-back champions in Florida once again.
Yeah. Stanley Cup comes through Florida. I'm with you guys. I think it's also Panthers. I think they kind of broke their hearts. Was it last night? It was or the night before.
Oh, when they beat Edmonton,
6-1.
when they whipped them.
Yeah, 6-1.
Yeah.
I think they kind of broke their hearts there. So.
Well, they've got to go back to Edmonton. So it's always tough to win it on the road. But yeah.
Yeah, and McDavid's still the best player in the league, but I don't think they have the right chemistry to beat Florida. Florida, I think they're like, we know we're champs. You got to come get us.
Right.
And I don't think Edmonton's convinced that they can. They can take the Panthers.
No,
All right, you got Dion written over there. What's the story with Dion?
Joshua, by the way, took Coastal Carolina, and he's pulling for the Panthers.
Pulling for the Panthers.
Panthers, yeah, he's got the Panthers. No, just an article in the paper that Deion Sanders is now suffering from an undisclosed illness, which he will announce when he's ready. His son is staying with him until he gets it squared away, and then he'll go to training camp. Deion's had a lot of trouble since he's been out of the league, and I don't mean,
which
health trouble.
Which son's not going to training camp? Because I thought it was Dion Jr.
Oh, who's staying with him?
Who's staying with him?
Okay. Yeah, well,
I think Shador and what's the other son's name that's at Tampa, Blake?
Shiloh.
Okay.
I think those guys are there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would want them at their mandatory workouts.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, Dion's an interesting guy. He's a Florida State guy. He's he's the same age as me, so I always followed his career, and I got a chance to play against him in baseball in college. But if you get a chance to read about his struggles with depression when he was playing with the Reds and when he drove off a cliff and tried to kill himself.
Played for the Reds?
Yeah. So he played for the Braves. He played for
Braves,
the Reds.
I know,
he played for the Yankees.
Yankees, yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't remember him as a Red, but that's okay.
but it was it's pretty aware, and he talks about mental health, and
right.
That's why he kind of leans into it with the boys that
which
are
is
on
important.
his team.
Yeah.
And he's a very faith-based guy. And so he goes into some deep stuff in there. You're like, whew, okay.
He suffered a lot of physical ailments too.
I'm very, very fortunate. My brain's never taken me there.
Right.
Right. And I'm sympathize for people that do go in that, and that's why you got to ask, hey, you doing okay?
Right.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I mean, we heard it yesterday when we were talking to the gentleman from Hydro Task Force 1. These guys are squared away, tough as freaking nails, and the bouts of depression and thoughts of suicide that so many of our veterans are going through, and that with Veterans Village and everything else, and they were very forthcoming, and it was it's hard. It's I have no real frame of reference other than to witness it from anecdotal stories like Ricky last night, but it's a crisis in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Just check on your friends, because we've become more. The world's gotten smaller, but people have gotten more distant.
Yeah,
is kind of the way I feel that we are in society.
Well, it's isolation,
and where conversation was a regular thing, like
no screens at the table, please.
That didn't exist, and
right.
I mean, we had to turn off the TV at dinner.
Right.
I mean, and I always faced the TV, so when a ball game was on, I was pissed. But I mean, the TVs weren't allowed to be on.
Right.
When I was a kid, we all sat around the table.
Right. That's when you catch up on how was your day.
So
it's important.
When I wasn't at the ballpark, hot dogs was my
food of choice,
my main staple.
Okay.
But I mean, you gotta check on your friends, and just random reach outs mean a lot to people that struggle with that.
Yeah, I had a Dallas Cowboys too. Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Did we say that? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we were talking baseball teams,
right? So. Okay, because I had the privilege of
he was 49ers, and Cowboys. I think that was it for football.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of going to a Monday night game with my friend Adam Langbart, Cowboys Giants, which is, a marquee game as it was Monday night. And Deion Sanders in that game, just sort of said, "Hi, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play football today." Intercepted a pass, returned it for a touchdown, returned a punt for a touchdown. Same game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going, whoo, Giant fans left early.
Yeah.
Giants fans left way early.
Yeah, it's a little heartbreaking.
Yep.
So.
Yep. That was an exciting game, because I wasn't invested in the Giants and,
All right. Tomorrow night, we haven't even decided on a topic yet for tomorrow night.
No.
For Abolic. So,
no.
but tomorrow night we'll be bantering back and forth, doing some bouncing stuff off of you guys and off of each other. And we'll actually announce in the morning what our topic is. We'll decide after we get done with this show.
Okay. Yeah.
You got any good ideas?
Seldom.
Sold them? Okay. All right, Blake, you got anything else? Any shout outs we need to do?
Have fun.
Have fun.
Okay.
Hey.
That I can do.
All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow night. Bye-bye.